It is October 1st, 2013. We're at the Raleigh Board of Water Commissioners meeting. Here in attendance is John Reza, Superintendent, Stuart Dalzell, Member, Tim Toomey, Chairman, and Carmine, how do you pronounce your last name?
Federico.
Federico.
Yes.
Our Administrative Assistant. First order of business is accept the minutes from 9/24/2013. Did you find anything wrong, John or Stu?
On page 2, says that I invited you and Roy Ricker to join me on that visit to Pennachuck. I have been there. I suggested that you and Roy take a trip up there to see the operation.
Yeah, I remember that. So where is that?
Page 2. Down almost to the bottom.
No, I think that it wasn't, it was the gentleman that was given the presentation that invited Toomey to join him on a visit. It wasn't used to. So that would be, what was his name? From Pennachuck?
Bernie.
Bernie? I can't remember
I
his last name.
thought I said to you and Roy, you would just to take a ride up there.
Okay, and then the only suggestion I have is going forward, I'd like to see the agenda stapled to the minutes.
Okay,
Okay.
sure.
And then I would also like, I like this condensed version better than the detailed version that we had with all the, very detailed stuff from the tapes.
Yeah.
I'd like to have you put down that it's available on tape. And do we have a depository for the tapes? Does the town have a depository for all the meeting tapes?
I believe so.
I don't know how long RCM keeps them available. I would assume that's probably, it's just an assumption, that they are warehoused or categorized or not erased.
Yeah. Can you get
That's an assumption.
a CD?
No, I don't. It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube?
Yes, I don't know how long they keep in their archives. I'm not really sure, but
Okay.
I can find out.
But there must be some kind of a recording on these meetings, I think.
Yeah, they do, obviously, I think, put them on a DVD, I would think, and
Yeah.
store them now.
Why don't we do that? Can you make sure that happens, John? Make sure we have if they don't have a depository for all the tapes for the town,
Yeah.
let's create our own file for that. In other words, the DVD could be made, we could keep for our files. So we can refer it to the DVD on these minutes for further details on any particular aspect of the meeting. Please refer to the DVD. I think it cost us a lot of money just to transcribe these things. How long did it take you to do this, Carmen?
Just, here and there, it took me about 2 hours, but I stopped quite a bit and went back to them, it wasn't all at one time, so.
Yeah. Well, we spent more time on that before, so. I think it's just as a suggestion, it's just make sure the high points are hit on the meetings we're gonna try to follow the agenda, and then when we get to old business, we might have some more details, but we need to try to keep it condensed and succinct, okay? Second order of business. Oh, I gotta make a motion to approve the minutes with those corrections.
So moved.
Second, I second it, all in favor?
Aye.
Purchase orders, these are all the purchase orders right here?
Yeah.
45 lead and copper tests. No Shoburn analytical.
Yes. Yearly testing.
Okay, so this, you have to have this thing done, that was an emergency?
That was a time frame.
So, the unit rates for these tests, is that the same as BioMarine?
I don't have to check that.
Do we have a file in there for BioMarine? What the rates are?
I'm sure this is in her vendor drawings. Past collection of the rules of the testing.
Yeah. All right, well,
Get
yeah.
some reads off of
I want to make sure that we have availability of labs to make sure we can cover the cost of getting the analysis.
that.
So you think I should make a motion that we should have 2 labs that we could go to, so we don't have to spend a lot of time procuring and stuff on a yearly basis, get a yearly procurement?
Okay. We could set up accounts if you wanted to.
Okay. Because we didn't procure this, we just, we had to go do this, so.
Yeah, right.
So we need to, make sure we got that base covered, so that's why I asked about the rate, so.
Where are 2 others located, John? This one's in Gloucester.
BioMarine's in Gloucester.
Yeah, where were the 2 others located?
Well, this other one is an air.
Right,
Yeah.
but a lot of the stuff that Bio doesn't do gets shipped out.
Right. So, if they're gonna ship a sample out, we might wanna go direct with some of the labs. So, but as a general rule, we've been using BioMarine right along.
Well, it kind of keeps it centralized, your records are all there available. But,
How long a drive is it to here? An hour?
probably,
They're both, well, to get to BioMarine, it's about
30
35
minutes.
minutes.
Right.
I
yeah,
drive past it on the way to work. It's
Yeah. 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
yeah,
The air, it's probably an hour out and an hour back.
yeah,
The way I'm thinking about it too, John, is that most of these labs, they provide courier services at no fees, no charge.
some of them do.
Yeah,
I don't know if they do.
so we gotta look at that.
Yeah. And some labs, they do certain range of tests, and others they don't also.
Yeah.
So
You may-
they kind of get shipped around depending on what the test is for.
You may want to get a quote out of the place in Merrimack, New Hampshire. I was thinking it's a little far, but as Tim mentioned, courier service.
Yeah.
See, Amro will pick it up. So why don't we initiate,
Check a few labs.
They do everything
we wanna get
themselves.
some, we wanna get some pricing, and then we wanna have to pick between 2 labs, and, preferably to be the same price, so there won't be any discrepancies there. But if we can get a courier service, it makes sense for us to have a courier service pick the samples up.
Yeah.
And they could pick them up, we got a heavy sampling event, we could pick them up twice in that week,
Yeah.
makes sense to me, you're not paying a man at least an hour to get out there and back. Maybe you could work out something with a place in Merrimack, New Hampshire, because they have men in Salisbury. They have an elaborate lab.
So when's the next flurry of samples going out?
I don't know if there's a flurry, I think they're small stuff. The lead and coppers are always the big one.
Yeah.
And especially this year, since we changed the corrosion control process, they doubled our general number from 20 to 40. Just to
Okay.
see how that was doing, so it was kind of a big event this year.
Yeah.
But usually it's 20.
Okay.
And that's the biggest number usually, sample.
Okay, so the next agenda, could you report back to the board about the prices for, we just want to know what the metals are. He's charging us, so for a metals analysis, $30. Okay?
Yep.
What would the prices of, say, biomarine, Neshoba Analytical, that's out of Air Mass, and I think it's AMRO, AMRO Environmental Labs out of Merrimack, New Hampshire. Okay? You might be able to call them and ask them to send you an email and then present the 3 emails to us next meeting. And who offers a pickup service? And offers glassware or containerware or not?
John, if you send out a sample, how long do you have to get it there?
Depends. Some need to be refrigerated, some don't.
I can remember having
Some has,
wells tested on jobs, and I had to get it right down there.
yeah. Yeah, there's all different criteria depending on what you're
I
testing.
only had a few hours to get it down there.
Yeah.
The coliform or the bacteria test, it's almost immediate. pH is almost immediate. But we do pH testing in-house, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's real online monitors actually
Yeah.
that pace the pumps.
There are some things that require immediate delivery.
Yeah.
Bacteria is like,
Yeah.
if you leave it a day, it'll quadruple in bacteria count.
Right.
And so it's chilling requirements, you ought to go over that with the staff, is temperature controls, chain of custodies and stuff like that. Are you familiar with all that?
Yep.
All right, so we got a next one, State Supply Corp, PRV, watts,
Pressure reduced it up.
well number 3 water supply line. Okay.
Can you open that, please, did somebody do that? Oh, that's what I do. Thank you.
it had some batteries for, was this for alarms or something?
Yes.
Chairman Toomey, while Mr. Duzzo signing, can I ask Mr.
Sure.
Duzzo a question? The testing that you send out, is that something that you may be able to absorb when the new plant goes on? I know that there's a lab. Is that something that we would be able to do ourselves, or would it still have to be outsourced?
Some things, it's depending on how complex the test is, or what
Right.
kind of equipment you need. I'm sure there'll be some
Okay.
that can be done. But and you have to also be recognized, certified by the state to do those tests. So,
Okay.
How did just get to Air Mass?
but,
I think it's very expensive.
he did it on his own time.
That's not fair to him either. But I like Tim's idea. Encourage him.
Okay. I'd like to bring up one issue with this, the POs and stuff. We had an inquiry downtown about a water heater. And we're, want to clear it up tonight. Did you have any, have anything there, Stu, about that?
It was connectors, there's some fitting
Wiring for the existing water heater, actually.
and wire. It's $111.22.
Okay.
Should have
In
put,
other words, when that was water heater,
should have put wiring on top of it.
yeah.
Well, what does it look like on the warrant? You got the bill there, what does it look like on the warrant? Oh, was it on the, it was on the Weston and Sampson bill?
Yes.
That's why I couldn't find it.
Yeah, so it's on the Weston and Sampson bill.
Was actually, it says labor services, but
There it is.
one of these was our certified operator's last day. I think we went through this when we signed.
Yeah, we talked about, I think, that last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Or the week before.
Here it is, here, credit card Home Depot.
Right,
Then Laura took the taxes.
right. But they were basically parts.
Yeah, I think that, we gotta, I think what we should do is look at these things, and help, people downtown, when this goes down there. Just go through these bills like, you know, you're acting like them, so you're looking for things like that. Like Stewie's good at picking up like math errors and stuff. Larry's not here tonight. You could ask him a math question in a second, he'd come up with an answer, right? So let's see if we can just kind of get ahead on this thing here as far as,
Right. I'll just make a notation to each
Yeah.
line, I guess.
yeah. And I understand in the heat of trying to get something, problem solved, that the guy ran down and got, you know, parts or something because he needed to get parts to fix the thing.
Right,
But, and then we're short-staffed and everything, so,
at the time.
yeah.
Here we are here, just for examples, 20 ball valves, and their prices, $840. But there's meters here, $10,641.80, but it does not say how many meters. We need to know
Right.
how much you get for what we're getting for the money.
In other words,
Itemize.
we had time to put in 20 ball valves. We didn't have time to put in how many meters there was there?
How many meters were there, John?
And, well, the some are 1 inch, some are 5/8.
Yeah, but what was the total?
The total number, I'd have to go look at the order form.
All right. What I'm getting at, do you get $10,000, $10,641, that's a good size order.
And
Do you get 3 phone quotes for that?
meters are sole source.
Has to be more than one company selling meters, so.
They have regional coverage. Tight Sales is the regional dealer for the Northeast.
Well, what type of meters are they?
Neptune,
Okay. Well, I think we talked about this issue a couple of years ago.
we did,
And they're the only ones that sell them too?
right. It's like a franchise sort of thing. Probably a bad description.
See, they won't let us go directly to them,
You can't
We have
buy
to go to
direct
the
from the
vendor.
factory, right?
and it's such a specialized thing that Neptune only lets Thai Sales in this area sell their meters. Is that true?
Right.
It might make sense to make some calls and check it out, but
Well, then you'd be in another region, and I don't know if they could
no.
cross
Yeah, I know.
regional lines
Right.
or what the shipping would be.
Doesn't cost anything to inquire.
So if you talk to Neptune and said, who do you use for vendors in New England? Is that call ever been made?
I thought some years ago that they were, you know, the distributor for the Northeast.
Yeah. What it looks like is that we're just not, you know, making, we're not penny pinching. We want to be labeled as penny pinchers, so. So can you check up on that to make sure that Neptune only has one vendor in this region? They incidentally have been very good to us with the pricing,
Yes, they have.
so, but
I understand what you're saying, but we owe it to the town to be on top of the game. Get different quotes.
but as far as details, John, can you make sure that the details are on this sheet? And what are these codes over here? Is there a code over here? Is that a code?
These numbers.
Oh, it's a date. Or what is it?
No, that's not the date.
You want the code?
Let's get the first
Must be
page.
the code.
Let's get the first page. Let's see if
Like you
there's
said, some meetings were 5/8 and some were 3/4. If you just put down, just for example, 23/4
Yeah, well,
and 35/8 or whatever.
I think that, is this a town form that they want us to present it to them downtown?
Yes.
And who decides that? Who decides that?
I'm not sure. That's the format we've always used.
Charge to 61, this, and this. So it looks like the town accountant has codes for us, and then these are the general codes, but what are these numbers here?
Yeah, those must be,
That one says September. But these aren't dates. Be what was purchased in September.
yeah.
And what's this, the vendor? No, the vendor is here.
That's
What's this here?
That's the vendor code.
That's abbreviation.
Tedford Martin.
Right. In other words, like in,
So if we
even
got
a
the-
computer, they.
I know, but if we got
three
this,
initials.
if we got this category, what do we need this for? I don't know.
That's the way the accountant does it. They assign a code. to
When is the next
vendor.
financial review team meeting, you know? Let's find out about that, maybe we can get one going. So we can maybe revamp this, because, you know, you look at this, John, you know. We go from a purchase order to a bill, and the bill ends up on this, right?
Right.
And so the bill ends up on this, who puts it in, who puts these numbers here? Is it Laura?
Yeah,
You know anything about that,
I
Carol?
do not.
And so we look at the bills, I initial the bills. I initialed this one, didn't I, Stu? Yeah. But the policy now is that you're reviewing them before I review them, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, in the interest of time, I understand getting this paper together beforehand, but I think the procedure should be purchase orders, bills. Sometimes things, the purchase order on a bill gets generated almost instantaneously. I think that you should be on top of the purchase orders. And then when it gets to this, I see that if there's a purchase order and a bill that you signed off on, if there's any question, I go to the purchase order.
Right.
And when I sign off on them, then it gets to a sheet like this. But how long of a delay is that gonna be, you know?
Depends on how fast.
Maybe we should have a meeting
How fast.
with you and
company
Laura.
gets the bill.
Yeah. So we gotta have a meeting,
Some are
with-
quick, some are not.
we gotta have a meeting with you and Laura and me,
Some shoot it out the next day, some take the whole month
because
to send you the bill.
this is the latest thing that happened. The thing went down. There was not as much description on it, and they thought we bought a water heater, so. And then it kept bouncing back. It's like a bouncing ball. Okay, so I wanna streamline this. I want everybody to, feel comfortable downtown. We get this thing, so it goes out, we don't see it again. So, do you think a financial, fiscal team might be something we should probably get some input from them, or on this form here?
Well, I think we should work out a system that goes along with, the vendor codes and what we have for stock codes
Yeah,
for the actual items themselves.
okay. But then we got budgets and all this other stuff. So, budget codes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, we look at this and we say, okay, we definitely need it, and it's something that's needed, and you need it right away.
Yeah.
But what the problem comes in play is that, so it gets on a sheet like that and it goes downtown. And there's not enough separation between that sheet and all the different things here.
There's another bill here from John Hargrave that was paid out of the wrong account. It was supposed to be paid out of the construction project. It was taken out of something else.
Okay, so can you handle that, John?
$2,240. Another bill.
The mileage bill?
For $1,006.89.
Yeah.
You let that go forever. That was back the 1st of June to now. 40-some miles a day, 48 miles.
It's not really that far along, that's not really that far back though, for this kind of operation or service. They charge by the mile for that vehicle. What do they charge per mile?
56.5 cents.
Yeah, that's government,
That's
government stuff.
he's working for the contractor. Why are we paying his mileage?
That's a company car, truck. Right?
Yeah.
It's got a Western sign on it.
Right.
He's not working for the contractor. He's working for us.
He was filling in for our primary operator, so the rate that Laura got, which was a good rate from them, they took good care of us.
Yes.
But that was their rate structure.
I said the contractor, I meant the engineer.
Yeah.
We should request that they put this bill in monthly. I'll let it go.
Well, what do they do? Do they do the time monthly
4
too?
months.
What was the time they gave us?
8/26.
Back in August?
August, yeah, August, September. Yeah.
Well, they might have two different departments. They might have a payroll department, an expense department, so, there might be some lag time on some of the expenses. I don't know. That's the last bill. the last bill for our temporary fill-in primary operator from Weston and Sampson.
Oh, that one before, yes.
Yeah.
Done.
When did they finish up when Glenn came on board? Glenn came on in, what, the second or third week in August?
It was closer to August 1st, I think.
Yeah? Okay.
Did you write that down to take care of it? High grade is being paid out of the wrong account?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so that takes care of financial matters, purchase orders and the like. Abatements. Do you have any abatements?
Yep. It's from this week. There's two on each page because they need 2 copies.
These are the ones we passed last week?
Yes.
Okay, so. There were how many? Carmen, do you remember that?
I believe 4.
4, they got approved.
On deck. Do I sign the 2 things here?
Yes, there's 2 copies. And it has to stay with us. And it has to go in. They want original signatures.
So you ready? The assembly line. Next one is Carol Powers. You check the numbers, John? You check these numbers around?
We were abating the whole thing.
On deck. What was the circumstances for that? Did he already pay his bill and then we would just did he pay the whole amount? And then we're just coming back with the. Let me read it from the minutes, okay? Abatement he was on vacation in New Hampshire during the period of water spike. Possible cause of usage was suggested that it may have been tampering of exterior water bib hose by external elements. Motion was made by Commissioner Dalzell to split the difference.
Oh, okay.
And there are future events to test the meter on site at owner's expense. Roy Ricker seconded this motion with nay from Toomey.
Gentlemen, good night.
Good night, Jamie.
Good night.
Yeah.
Have a good evening, Jamie.
You too, thanks. Somebody's keys are here if you're
I
missing
believe
your
those are mine,
keys.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, if you wanna check this out, just to be sure something, there wasn't some back jobs or something.
Well, I don't want to pass it through with a signature on it, so.
I think that we ought to tear it up and do it again.
Alright.
What do you think, Tim?
Well, obviously, I didn't think that they qualified for an abatement, but I'm not sure why. John, could you be versed enough to be able to answer these questions at a meeting, or do we have to bring in Laura?
Well, I mean, she runs the bill program.
Well, if this one's got a question on this one, who's to say these things aren't a question? Let's go through these things now. The charges were 1,307, we abated at 1,290 for,
That's what we're in a little store.
so we abated it back to,
Oh, jeez.
The average monthly bill.
amount adjusted was $16. So she paid $16 for a water bill?
That's what their usual bill is.
That was her usual bill?
Yeah.
Okay. 291, and we took off $145. So it's roughly double.
We split the difference.
762 versus 637, adjusted at 125. Pikel. What do we do for Mr. Pikel?
They found a leak and fixed it the same day in the hose.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I'll hold on to this, and if I'm satisfied, talking to John and Laura tomorrow.
I sent my name on that, but when it went down to 0, I'm not satisfied with it.
Yeah, so if I could find an
Should be
explanation.
According to the minutes, right?
I think it should be torn up and we do the half. Like the others, be consistent.
Well, I want to find out what the problem is, so we'll bring it up at the next meeting. So on the agenda, it'll be redo on deck abatement. Okay?
Put a little note on that hole, if you would. Fair enough.
Okay?
Okay.
Town Common. How are we making out with that, John?
It's, all the irrigation's in, and, we got water.
We got happy trees over there or what?
I certainly hope so.
Any reports from you still?
I have the water over there, the work boxes are in. John's has a little seed he thinks out back, and he'll see this raked around the work boxes and some seed scratched in.
We done?
Yeah, irrigation's done.
And all the equipment is in there to bleed the hoses in the winter time and all that?
Well, it's all one line, so you can take the input line, put an air fitting on it, and just open the last spigot.
Is there a meter on that?
There isn't at the moment, but
Is there a meter on the common water?
no. We're gonna set one up on the box. But it would have to be seasonal, it would have to be cold, kept inside.
The meter?
Yeah.
Doesn't freeze.
Well, don't we offering community water to some of these organizations?
Yeah, it's just a tracking thing.
They won't be getting bills just so they'll know if
There's a
they had a
leak.
leak.
Right,
Exactly.
not counted for water.
You have an old meter kicking around?
There must be some up there.
Instead of going with, just check it during the season or whatever. Right?
Yeah, just see if it's running.
Okay. Anything else in the town common?
At least up there, the line's so shallow, if you did have a leak, you'll know it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it'll come to the surface pretty quickly.
Okay. Secondary operator. Did you look at the resumes, Stu?
Yes.
Did you have any recommendations?
I'll support this gentleman, make a recommendation for this gentleman named Peter King, who works for the Topsfield Water Department, subject to all the reference checks. And I would like him to come in here, and I'd like to just tell him right to his face, so he knows it. I mentioned it in the interview, but I want him to know where he's employed, that there's that chance after the spring town meeting, this water department could contract the operations out. I want him to know that, so he knows up front.
Well, we can put that on an offer letter.
All right,
So why don't we do that? I talked to Roy. He seemed to have the same feelings about who we should make an offer to. So I'll take a motion to hire him.
all right, before I make that motion, this gentleman that's here part-time, he's here for 3 weeks, is that correct?
It was a very specific time period we needed him for.
I understand that, but something about he was going on vacation the 23rd of October or something?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so I take that as a motion. We're gonna make an offer to Mr. King. Before I make the second, did you check the references, John?
I was able to check 2 references. look. Actually from the water department itself.
I checked, I checked one of his references too. And everybody has high praise for the gentleman.
Yes.
So I'll second your motion. All in favor? Aye.
When, if he accepts the offer, when he was start, this gentleman agreed to work for 3 weeks. I don't want to cut his time short, his part-time man.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
All right, so,
So we'll make
I
it,
imagine he'll give 2 weeks' notice where he's working, and take us a week to get the offer back, so perhaps he could start like the latter part of the month.
I'd like to see him start the day that the other gentleman's going on vacation, or the day after.
That's fine, as long as
Okay?
he gives his present employer
What date is that, John?
his notice. 23rd, isn't it?
Originally, we told him he could work till the 18th.
18th.
He doesn't actually go on vacation until 23rd.
Okay.
I thought he wanted the 21st and the 2nd one to get ready or whatever. He said he could work up till the 23rd if necessary.
Well, he wants to get ready for his vacation too.
Well,
So what is the 23rd?
it's a Wednesday.
Well, we'll make the offer for he's going on vacation on the 23rd?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just make a claim, start him off on the 21st. So you gotta write a letter, offer, the letter is for the 21st,
Yeah.
all right? And, you know, we have, you know, we're not sure, that gives him 2 weeks
Yeah.
notice if we get it to him right away, okay? And then in the offer letter, John, you gotta put in that there is a possibility that we're gonna be going.
Stipulation.
Yeah. And then do I have a motion for his pay? We're allowed to go as high as 24.60.
Right.
And right now, he's making what?
Yeah, that was actually authorized.
What's he making now, 24.50?
That's what he's expecting.
Yeah.
Says rate of pay expected. Oh, he's, okay. He's making-
24.52.
He's making $20.52 an hour right now.
Okay.
Nope.
So why do we have to red flag that first?
Well, motivation to move.
Where are we?
Well, we're looking at hiring Peter King. Roy Ricker has joined us at 7:06. So we just made a motion to hire Peter King, the gentleman from Topsfield.
Okay.
Now we're talking about his salary. John, can you get this offer letter out tomorrow?
We go up on the place.
Well, we can offer him up to 24.60. And I think that's what Rob is gonna,
You want to go that much?
well, I think it's equal. You know, we have two guys that are secondary operators, they're both very good. That's mine.
This is your packet.
That is,
What's the other gentleman?
You want me to sign those,
What's the other gentleman get?
waivers?
Same pay?
what?
What's the other secondary operator again?
The same, 24.60. I think we ought to
Okay.
just,
All right,
the secondary operative position makes such and such.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been here 2 years, so do we want to, give him the same thing that the guy's been here for a couple of years?
this gentleman has the experience, so,
Well, yeah, he's been working on topsoil for a while.
No, but I'm just saying, is it right that, come up with the same price? But
Yeah, I think so. They won't be looking at each other funny.
no, I'm just saying he's been here for a while.
Yeah. Okay, so the motion is, we give him a pay rate with a red line rate of 24.60. Does somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
No section.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, so the letter goes out tomorrow, John. We're gonna give him heads up. And also on the letter, you might wanna, when you get your draft together, you wanna give it, take a look at it, okay? So I'll expect that around sometime tomorrow, okay?
Yep.
So that takes care of our secondary office, so we should be full staff, right? For that, okay? Old business,
Under old business, I'd like to, discuss these hydrants. Driving down 1A the other day, a couple of them you could not see, John.
Yeah.
They have to be trimmed. And you have a bent pipe. I think I mentioned it a week or two ago, they wanted to hit a cross street on Central Street. Your man trimmed around it, but the pipe was not straightened. Can't straighten it, tear it up, put another pipe in. Winter's coming, you need the markers. And any other pipes you see bent, they need to be straightened.
I'd like to see us go to those, fiberglass ones with the springs on. These ones that we get on these hydrants now that screw on with the cover, the fire department hates them. And, the things ain't high enough. You get any amount of snow.
These pipes on the belt bent like that, somebody coming along on a bicycle or something,
No, but I mean,
I
you know,
shudder
the
to
ones
think what
that,
could
the ones
happen.
they're putting on now, Suey,
I
they
understand.
screw on the
Yeah.
side of the hydrant, they're not high enough, and then they're not reflective of ice or whatever, but they have those antenna ones that a lot of times have with a, like a whip spring. You can see them
Yeah.
when you're plowing snow. I mean, when I plow snow for the town, there's a lot of hydrants you can't see. when you're plowing. You know, if we get a bad winter.
You get snowbanks over them there.
Right.
That pipe.
But those other ones are only like, what, 3 foot tall? And they're hooked a foot down about below the hydrant.
Yeah.
You ain't on the snow, and especially in an intersection or cul-de-sac or something, you can't see them.
Yeah.
I know River's Edge. I never knew there was a hydrant there halfway through the winter.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't see the thing.
I need to keep a pad notebook with me, write down these things. There's 2 other bent ones that I've seen, I can't remember where they are, it'll come to me. But that one there, that pipe, that has to be straight, John.
Is this a pipe or a rod we're talking about still?
I'm talking about an iron pipe.
The old fashioned pipes like in
Yeah.
front of my house.
See, I like those because if a
You
car
can
comes
see them, they're
by,
up there.
there's a half a shot of keeping the car from hitting the hydrant.
Well, I don't think they got that much strength, but I mean, you can see them when you're plowing snow. I mean, especially at an intersection.
Yeah.
You know, one thing is, going down the road, but at the intersection, you need them up higher so you can see them, because you're pushing snow to the corners or whatever.
You need some reflector tape on them.
Well, we put that on the flags.
Yeah, but it's only like an inch square then.
Yeah.
Those ones that you're using now, it's like a piece of reed rod or whatever, round rod, whatever it is.
Just a bar,
I mean, they slip down, they don't stick, and they only get a little square piece of, you need enough on your plowing stone, you know those little little.
Did you write that down, John?
Yep.
Okay.
They're expensive, I mean, they're not cheap.
What's that?
A spring pipe.
Yeah, but the pipes here, I don't know if you straighten them out or put in a new pipe.
My pipe fell over right by my driveway, and what I did is I stuck it to the telephone pole and put reflector tape on it.
Your labor is gone, so if you get the men, like down Main Street, there's 2 you cannot see. The only reason I saw them going along in the backhoe is so you're up high.
Yeah. But I mean, they need to be up 3-4 feet above the hydrant.
Well, we ought to look at that with we're starting a capital improvement plan of replacing gate valves and stuff, so we ought to put that in a plan with,
I mean, you get riding around some of these towns, you look, they're using these like a 4-foot fiberglass thing with a spring on it. And it's got red, white, and blue on them, and I think they're reflectorized too. And they hook on the hydrant like one of the bolts for the flange, the top flange piece. They stick up, so you can see them.
Right.
I seriously think we ought to start checking into that a little bit as we replace them. I mean, not the whole town, but I mean, as we replace ones that are broke or bent or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good idea, because those ones, the fire department hates those ones they go on the thing.
Yeah.
Because they're in the way for their wrench when they go to turn the hydrant on, they gotta bend them anyway.
yeah. How many we got those, John? How many of those we have?
Quite a few.
The rods.
Yeah. Maybe we ought to
Quite a
figure out,
number of years ago, they bought a whole
maybe you ought to figure out
box of them.
a capital improvement item is replacing these rods, the little rebar rods that are encumbrance of the fire department.
Like you talk
then
to the
replace
firemen,
it.
they said the first thing they can do is bend that down
Yeah.
so they can open the hydrant, because it's right in the way for the wrench.
Do you have any like brochures on this stuff?
No, I wouldn't know where to get them, I mean, I imagine John must get something here, but
Blue book.
Okay, all right, so we'll check on that and then report back to us at the next meeting.
Something we reflect.
Okay, so we have anything to report on any research for the privatization still?
No, I don't.
I don't.
In our travels, we could probably drop by there and see the Penachuk plant up in Nashua. So, I don't know if you have the time to do that when you're driving through all your jobs or whatever. But if I'm up in that neck of the woods, I might be up there in the next couple of weeks.
Quote for them, for your lab work. You'll have a little time for me.
Did you work on I asked you last meeting to work on a policy for abatements, John?
Yep. got a draft right now.
Abatement draft policy. If customer contests meter reading, we will investigate for leaks with a meter download of the data logger of the past 90 days of usage and then meet with the customer to discuss. If a leak is found repaired promptly, it will be at the discretion of the Board of Water Commissioners to determine the final charges to be assessed. The customer has a right to request a meter test under the condition that if the meter is an error over a standard of plus or minus 2%, the water department will pay for the test and abate the usage for the overage of the standard allowance. What's that mean? The overage of the standard allowance?
Yeah, if it was, say it was a 4% error when it came back from the test,
But if there's nothing wrong with it, the customer pays for it.
they pay for the 2%.
If the meter is accurate, the customer will be responsible for the cost, test, and labor to remove or install the meter, and the bill will stand. Do we have a cost for, to remove, reinstall the meter?
Usually it's an hour's labor to,
Do you have a, can you put that together?
basic.
Let's put some dollar figures here, and so we can vote on this. Any other instances for abatements?
Is that,
Huh?
where you said?
Any other reasons for abatements, but other than leaks?
We had quite a few excuses at him last year.
I know,
Well, I mean, this is a draft if you want to modify it or.
but I'm asking
tweak
you,
it.
what kind of other things? Usually there are leaks, and there are leaks that aren't addressed, or there is an unknown spike in water activity usage
Right.
that, but no one explained reasons, corrected itself. So
Yeah.
what do you do? What other kind of reasons would you have for a reason for an abatement?
Well, I mean, it's basically contesting the reading on the meter and whether or not there's a leak. Really?
Yeah, but I think, yeah, they wouldn't be in here unless there was a big,
Is there anything, John, that they make, I mean, you take these people to get the sprinkler systems.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times you go by places, it's pouring rain out and the sprinklers are on? You know, that something that senses them that it's raining out, you don't need your sprinkler. I mean, we're talking about trying to conserve water, and you drive by and it's pouring rain and the sprinklers are on.
I know.
well, our
And then
rates,
the people are complaining that, that they got a high water bill, but they're running the sprinklers and pouring rain, you know what I mean?
To program.
There's certain things you
Well-
can't control.
What I'm saying is, in our bylaws, ain't there some kind of a sensor that shuts the sprinkler off in the rain? There's gotta be something that they can buy.
Some of
It
the newer
comes
ones
to the
do,
rain
yeah.
sensor.
Huh?
Rain sensors usually put at the gutter line of a house, littered in town. Shut it down.
It just makes sense that something like that should be in the bylaws. That,
well, I think that there's some controls there, because we have a rate, the rates go up with the usage, so if they use a lot of water, the rates are higher.
yeah, they go up and then they come in, they can complain, and but they're running the sprinklers in the pouring rain. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I know, but if they come in, because the sprinklers are running too much, even though in the rain,
Mhm.
it's, they're gonna come up with a different rate, because they've blown their earlier discount rate up, so they'll get the message, and they'll be more conservative next time, so I think that's already covered. Is there any other reason why it'd be a meter error, it'd be a leak, that they had no basis for, the customer had no reason to think that he had a leak, but he had a leak, and as soon as he found out about it, because of our early billing thing,
Right.
he corrects it immediately, okay?
Yep.
And, but if they don't correct it immediately, say they come in, say, 3 bills into it, I've been paying $250 for my water bill for the last 3 months, you know? How do we cover that?
Well, I
He
think.
should have, if he's paying $40 a month, and then he's paying $250 for the last 3 months. You know what I mean? He's gonna want an abatement going back for 3 months. I mean, we gotta have stronger language.
After a month, no abatement.
Language to
Go
put
back-
it on,
go
put
back
the
1
onus
month.
on the customer. They come in here early.
Right.
What else can we do? Did you talk to Glenn? Or could you talk to, the gentleman that's helping us out temporarily? He's from Andover.
Yep.
To see if they know of any abatement policies from their previous work, including the new guy to be coming in from Topsfield. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So dollar figure for next meeting for
Testing.
we'll test your meter, and if it comes out in over 2%, we'll pay for it. If you don't, then our bill will be such and such. So, you know, if they come to the door and they got a question about the meter reading, and then you tell them what the cost is, they might do their own investigation and figure out, you know, whether or not it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds fair to you?
Well, that's, I mean, the meeting's the last
All right, so check
stop.
other departments
Right.
for their policy. And then maybe, let's get a second draft next meeting. The agenda on the next meeting is another draft. Abatement policy. See, what we would like to do as a board is if somebody comes in with a real grievance or a problem with the water bill, then we've already got a policy that our superintendent has gotten together, and that's what we recommended. So it takes the guesswork out of everything, okay? And it seems fair to me. Okay, so let's get another draft going for next meeting.
Did we do anything on, the Haverhill Street thing for the highway department?
133,
Yeah.
can you give us an update on that, John?
Yeah, actually, I was gonna ask you if you knew anyone at Brock's, if they could get that new quote over to me.
Did what?
The new quote that was supposed to generate for us.
Okay, so you had a site visit with somebody from Brock's?
Yeah.
Okay, who was there?
A guy named Vincent. I can't think of his last name anymore.
Vincent was the guy that came up.
Yeah.
Okay, so who else was there?
Me, Glenn, and Ron.
So Ron was there, okay.
Yeah.
Did Ron think it was a good idea we went with a guy from Brock's?
Yeah, well, they were going through methodologies of what they wanted to see there.
Okay. All right, see if he, can we get anybody else, because we need to get 3 quotes, because this is not gonna be 4,000.
Yeah.
Do we get somebody else out there?
We can get the ones we called.
You get aggregate, you get DNR paving.
Yeah, aggregate didn't want to.
Who took over from Milty down there in Reading? What's his name?
Benevento.
Benevento.
Yeah.
you know, wrapping everything up at the end of the year thing, you know.
Okay, so we only got one guy out there? I know Laura had gotten some quotes from the other outfits, but
Right.
we need to redo it over again, and specifically in the presence of Ron, okay?
Yeah.
All right. And we need to do that very soon. One of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was we got this ongoing problem. Recently, somebody wiped out one of our hydrants.
I thought we was gonna hire somebody last week, we talked.
That's what I thought, so too, but we didn't. There's a bag over it, and John's been getting quotes to fix it. We haven't got off the mark yet, so. We haven't even, so I
I thought last week we voted to hire somebody to come in and do it.
Yeah, the next day. Well, this is the other thing we could do, and I was thinking about this, we're talking to John today. We could have the guys work overtime, so we get more people working for us now. It shouldn't be a problem to get our people to fix something. So instead of hiring
What does
a
it need, just a
contractor.
new hydrant, John?
I don't know what the extent of the damage is on that.
I mean, the water main's not broke, so I mean, it's just better going down to the main, putting a new hydrant in.
Depends, you know, the stub could be cracked, or there could be anything down
You don't know till you dig.
Yeah.
Well, the stub, if the stub is cracked, wouldn't the water start leaking out?
It could, yeah. The gate might be in front of it. Depends on how they set the gate up, to whether they bolted it directly to the main, or if they put a stub in the gate, and a stub.
We got a hydrant here, correct?
Yeah, we got one here.
So why don't we just get it fixed and then figure out, you know, insurance company, or go after this guy that hit it with no insurance and.
Well, this doesn't happen too often. We're talking with John today. It doesn't happen too often where you have an uninsured motorist with a hydrant. But it does happen, and it has happened in the past. So what I thought might be helpful is that we gotta come up with a policy of how much we're gonna charge for us to fix it. Instead of us hiring it out for
Oh, I mean,
$12,000,
whatever it
$15,000.
costs us, you know, plus 10% or something, you know what I mean, for billing.
Well, if we're paying, we're regularly paying with somebody, what John does when somebody hits a hydrant, the insurance companies get involved and some insurance approved contractor fixes the hydrant. And they worry about the quotes, they worry about getting the thing fixed. We have a guy out there to make sure it's fixed right, and, you know,
There's no reason why other guys can't do it.
so our guys can do it. And they would wanna do it, 'cause
And if it's
It's
4
just like
hours,
a-
8 hours, or if it's overtime, whatever it is, plus 10% for billing.
well, what I would suggest we do is, you got prices to fix that hydrant right now,
Yes.
okay? So let's just adopt, what's the average price there? 5,000?
They went from 5 to 8.
So the average is the average between 5 and 8.
Now, does that include the price of the hydrant?
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like to see a motion here tonight that we charge $7,000 to replace a hydrant. Because we have to take our men out of the normal activities.
You know anything on something like that, Tim? I
Overtime.
mean, if it's an overtime situation, plus if it does something to the main down the road, I mean, it's gonna be more money, you know what I'm saying? You know, if it's hard enough to drag, so I don't think we should put a set price on it. I think whatever the price is to fix it, plus 10% for billing purposes.
We're gonna be in court anyway, Roy.
I know, but what I'm saying, if you put a set price at $7,000, and it destroys the main, and it's gonna cost more,
You know what?
you know what I'm saying?
I know, but what could happen is that a guy hits the hydrant and breaks it, and then, of course, the cops got him now, right? And they find out he doesn't have insurance. So then somebody says, oh, well, you know, we're gonna charge you $7 grand if we're gonna fix it, but you can get somebody else to fix it.
You know, I mean, each each place, I mean, it could be on a back road where we don't need a detail, we might need 2 detail jobs, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, each job could be
You know, but if
different.
we afford the guy an opportunity to fix it right off the bat,
I just don't think we should, put a set price on it myself.
well, I think it's open-ended, but we gotta have something.
Whatever it costs plus 10% for building.
Well, before we got these quotes, you know, it's, I don't know, I think that you gotta give the guy an opportunity to fix it, or know what it's gonna cost roughly, so.
All right, here's a quote here, does not include permits of police detail.
Okay, so
So
this,
you have to add to that quote for the police detail.
so this thing could be like an $8,000 average. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, I don't think we should put a price on it. I mean, if it was a back road, it might not need a detail, but if it's on 133 Central Street or 1A, you're gonna need a detail, you might need 2, depending on what the situation is.
well, how are you planning on, if we do the job, how are you planning on billing this guy?
Building
The guy that hit it?
I don't know, we've never done that. I don't know. It's new territory.
I think we gotta tell him up front. It's a minimum of $8,000,
This one's,
could be more.
no police or fire details.
I'm just afraid of putting a set price on it, that we could be in trouble myself. Each job is a different situation.